See my mark. Don't touch that dial. The Winning Card Show.
At KHMC, Magic 95 assumes no responsibility for its content, and the Wade and Carter Show bears all responsibility for their opinions and guests on their show.
The president and first lady test positive for coronavirus. Google paying billions for news content. John Roberts, Fox reporter, has a meltdown. All that and more coming up in today's Wade and Carter Show.
See, now I thought you would have teased that breaking news. I thought you would have teased that.
I kind of did. All that and more. It's a tease.
No, the corona was the big deal.
Well, it's right off the bat. I want to pull them in. They want to hear more.
Sorry, YouTube. We're show prepping. Hey.
Hey, good morning.
Man, I'm ready.
Big breaking news this morning, but let's do this.
Really big news. Folks, Wade and Carter Weather brought to you by the great folks, the benevolent folks, the kind and gentle folks, animal lovers all at Deerland Feed. For 946 years, the Deerland family, they used to have the Dutton Ranch, Yellowstone Dutton Ranch. They moved over here.
Yeah, back when that stovepipe of Texas went all the way up through
and
there.
It did. There was Texas, and then there was Northwest Texas. All ruled by the Comanche.
What's kind of interesting with that is if we wouldn't have given up some of the land, all the ski hills
would all be
Texas. You'd be skiing Texas.
You used to see those shirts that would say Ski Texas, and the people in Colorado hated that. Hated it. 63 degrees in Victoria, heading to a high today of 85. Sunny, it's going to be a beautiful day. Sunshiny day. For all your farm and ranch needs, for all your home needs, for all your professional needs. Like if you're tired of spraying Raid on ant beds, go by Deerland Feed.
Yeah.
They'll make the ants go to your neighbor's yard, and that's really all you care about.
Mosquitoes that popped up after that rain from Beta.
Terrible.
Still got some standing water. Get rid of the water. That'll help.
Beta did that to us. It was the storm of the century brought us all those mosquitoes. Folks, we are still in the middle of storm season. Be aware of that. It's not over.
No, there's one in the Caribbean or the Caribbean, depending on your vernacular.
What is that? I've never known which was quote unquote correct.
I don't either, to be honest. I've heard it both ways.
I think Caribbean is probably correct.
Probably. And then there's also one just off of Yucatan that may come across or may kind of go around it and into the Bay of Campeche. Cancun, isn't that all down there?
I've been there. It's just nothing to it.
Never been down that way.
Nothing to it.
But that one they say has about a 70% chance of developing. So speaking of developing story this morning, the president and first lady announcing that they both tested positive for coronavirus.
Yes, happened late Thursday night. Breaking news, not in any local newspaper. You can bet on that. You're hearing that here first and only.
They both say they will begin they're asymptomatic.
Will they quarantine together? Could it be like a little honeymoon? Is there a chance?
I don't see why they wouldn't. They both have it. What are they going to do to each other? You can't. Once you have it, you don't give it. You don't end up doubling or tripling it up.
Did you find it?
It's not like piling on in football.
Ironic's not the word. Was it odd to you the other night that Jill Biden walked up to Joe on the stage? They were all social distance, and she had a mask on. Do you need a mask from your spouse? Maybe from Joe.
Maybe.
Don't you just picture Joe with really bad coffee?
Maybe in the morning with the halitosis.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. Joe's probably got really bad coffee breath.
Remember all those morning breath commercials? I don't know which one it was. Listerine, the Scope.
Yes. Scope doesn't do it for me. And Listerine, that like the yellow stuff, that's just nasty. I mean, it's
like medicine. If it doesn't taste bad, it doesn't work.
But it's nasty. And if there's a Listerine.
Guilty pleasure. I kind of like the Listerine.
Well, of course, you knock it back, it's about 80 proof. There's one called Listerine Cool Mint that's not bad. It's green. You know? It's their answer to Scope that still has a little kick. Scope is like, it's a mouthwash. It's not a breath freshener. It doesn't kill any germs that I know of. Just kind of spit it out.
Until I got older, I thought Listerine was a bourbon. Had no idea.
That's nice.
Short highball glass.
So how long have you been an alcoholic? Well, I started drinking when I was 8. Whiskey? No. Listerine.
2 cubes of ice, a little Listerine. Once that ice starts to melt, it really brings out the flavor. You really get those notes of pine. I think Listerine is just pine sol in a different.
I've told you this, but I did have a military pilot tell me one time that on his second tour of duty on an aircraft carrier, he said Aqua Velva and Coke wasn't that bad. I'm like, man, talk about a hangover.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, we joke a little bit, but there are some folks who bad enough that that's what they resort to when times get tough.
Let's not do that.
So we won't do that.
Stop. Don't be stupid, people.
Andy Ria Jr., good morning. C.W. Bean, Bobby Leister, Marvin Mickish, Lisa Poole, Judge Posey, Robin Moore Knipling, Chris Conrad, good morning to you.
Good morning, Judge.
H.R. Mallory, Justin Glass, Roy Gutierrez, Scott Tomko.
Say that again, Roy.
Gutierrez.
Gutierrez.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Jeremy Pena, good morning. Larry Leahy. Jenny Kuchas, good morning. Randy Langston checking in. Chris Conrad says the Dow tanking with Trump testing positive. Yeah. Imagine what will happen if he loses the election.
What is y'all's take on that? If Joe Biden were president, how would you feel if you were the president? If you're Joe Biden, and of course, if you were Joe Biden, you'd be addled and you might not know. They announced that you potentially have a deadly disease and the stock market goes up 20 points. How would you feel? President Trump announces that he has COVID. Bam, stock market tanks. The world needs Donald Trump as president. I'm telling you.
Trying to see if the hat to benefit Warriors weekend got any extra traction yesterday on our site.
We got to talk about that.
Yeah, we got to talk about that as well. But Torrin Bales has the bid for the Ted Nugent signed $1,000. So if anybody wants in on that, that's
and let me tell you,
1,001 will get you it.
No. We still want $100 increments, but I'm going to tell you, I'm not convinced that Torrin Bales is offended by giving the highest bid. I'm just saying it ought to be higher. Hats off to him. $1,000 will win the hat. That's beautiful work. But why not $1,500? Why not $2,000? We're raising money for the Warriors weekend, and those guys are coming in.
This will be like a Billy beer can in 40 years.
I had the exact notes again of when everything was going down, and I wanted to mention that, but I don't see it right in front of me.
Chris Jansen checking in. Good morning to Tom Price, Scott Snow, Clint Ives. Lori Reese checking in. Let's see. David Glass. CW Bean says Trump needs some R&R. From all the garbage he's been putting up with, he's coming back stronger than ever. Heather Monroe checking in from Tirana.
Saturday, October 17th is the flag posting. October the 28th is National First Responders Day procession, with sheriff's deputies, police department, sheriff's office, police department, fire department, vehicles, and ceremony at the field. Of course, the field is over there adjacent to Parkway Baptist Church, right at the corner of Stockbauer and Salem. This is a big deal. And Colonel Mike and Ron Koshin came in and talked about it. They even stayed and visited with the Hall of Famer, Ralph Salazar, and Brother Gary. I'd love to see I would love to see somebody match Torrin's 1,000. You see what I'm saying? Y'all can share the cap. You're not going to wear the cap in public anyway. Y'all can decide who gets to hold the trophy. Let's just win the battle. I like the idea of us giving 2,500 to
Warriors Weekend.
And by the way, as the mouthpiece, see, I'm out of this deal. I've encouraged Ash to put in 500 of his own personal money. I'm encouraging you. Not putting you on the spot, partner. No,
Not on the spot.
Very blessed. We're very blessed, folks. It'd be nice to have a nice gift from and it's always from y'all. It's not from Wade and Carter. It's from the Wade and Carter listeners, and we appreciate it.
Christina Wise, Natalie Mayer, good morning. Larry Lay says Rotary Club of Yoakum's clay shoot is tomorrow.
What did Clay do? I don't understand.
Why are you shooting
Why
Clay?
Are you shooting Clay? What? I heard they put him in a little contraption. They sling him out into the air. He's just all flailing everywhere. A flightless bird. Then they shoot him.
Speaking of flightless birds, you see the FA-8 chief jumped into a Boeing 737 MAX to fly it. And you had people calling it a publicity stunt. I'm not sure if I'm the FAA chief and a pilot, because he obviously knows what he's doing to get in it.
Right.
I'm not sure you're going to go jump into a plane that has been grounded for almost 2 years.
Oh, he's saying it's safe now, huh?
Well, no, he hasn't gone that far, but he wanted to demonstrate that they're making progress, and he feels the plane at least is safe enough to fly.
Did he take it up?
Yeah, he did. That's what I'm saying. He even said he tried to put it through some of the things that they said caused the problems and they couldn't replicate them.
What? Did he have a fight with his wife?
Maybe. I don't know.
Who does that?
Somebody took out a... Well, that's what I'm saying. You got idiots calling it a publicity stunt, and nobody I know of sane mind and logical thinking is going to jump into anything that could lead you all the way to the scene of the crash.
In other news, the FAA is replacing their chief. Wow.
But that's how idiotic the thinking is in this country. And it's the same thing. I saw posts already this morning. Well, if Trump would only die from the COVID.
Yeah, that is really a shame. I mean, we should all be prayerful that the president has a full recovery.
Out of the same
he'll
breath.
Spin it. Yeah. He'll spin this. This is going to be good radio, good television, great Twitter.
When he gets out of quarantine for 2 weeks.
But he'll be like, I'm 74 years old and it didn't even affect me. Melania and I just had tremendous supermodel sex the whole time.
Thank you for killing my breakfast.
Right?
Image I didn't need in my head.
You have to focus on the right one.
Yes.
It's not DJT. Is there anybody?
But that's part of it.
Is there anybody? Do you call them GIFs? Is that what they are? The GIFs? I don't even know what that stands for. John Paul Hall does. I don't. But
somebody
they do those little deals where Trump's dancing, you know, they've got his head. They're so funny because his facial expressions are so funny.
But the same people that say nobody should have died from COVID.
They're going, die, Trump,
exactly. They're wishing death upon the president from COVID when nobody should have died from COVID. And they're too stupid to even see their own hypocrisy, idiocy, and just how shallow they really are.
It's karma. You get what you deserve. You don't social distance. You don't wear a mask. You know what? He'll be fine. He's asymptomatic. Yeah. I even went so far as to think, both he and Melania test positive on the same day. What if he just wants to lay low for a couple of days?
Well, Hope Hicks is one of his close confidants, and I can't remember her exact title.
She travels. She's a chief, like a chief consultant to the president.
She's the one that tested positive, and I don't know if she was symptomatic, but they're close. Proximity to her is where they are now.
She does travel with the president. I've seen pictures of her on Air Force One, being Marine One, with the president. She was wearing a mask in the one that I saw, by the way. She was wearing a blue dress and a red mask, striking.
Patriotic.
A neutral taupe heel. Allen's Wrecker Service, folks, 578-6300. That's the masterful segue. Sometimes the non-segue is the segue. 578-6300. You want somebody to come out and make crazy facial expressions? Whoa, how'd you get in that ditch? Allen won't do that to you. He'll come out, secure the scene like a first responder.
He won't make a face. He'll just go, what the hell were you thinking?
He'll come out like a boss and get you out of the ditch and get you over to the Ansenhofer dealership. Since 1926, Victoria's dealer. While your damaged vehicle goes into their paint and body shop, goes over and gets a new alignment in their service bays.
You might as well peruse the lot. and find your next vehicle.
Cadillac, Chevy, Mitsubishi, Mazda, gently pre-owned. They've got a Raptor over there. They've got a $75,000 Toyota. You got to go see that. That's like watching a two-headed midget. You got to go do that. Jim Hartman says he likes my shirt. Hartman Strong, proud to report today, J.R. Hartman's son is in remission.
Nice.
It's been made public. It was on Facebook. We try not to violate too much personal life information on this show, but very, very, and tell you what, I promise you, the Hartmans believe it's an answer to prayer.
And we don't do birthdays, but if we did, we belatedly wish J.R. Hartman happy birthday. We don't do that.
I'm the suck up to the sponsors. I sent him a note yesterday.
I did too.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't know you were going to suck up. I wouldn't have sucked up.
I wish my friends happy birthday.
You
suck up. I wish friends happy birthday.
He's got a lot of questions about you before I would label you a friend. He doesn't like the Russian connection. He's got the dossier, the Wallachuk dossier.
Yeah.
Your name's so long, like you've got the folder, you have to fold it over to get the chow.
It's an 8.5 by 14.
Right.
Doesn't fit on 8.5 by 11.
Right.
Should have seen it on the back of hockey jerseys.
Folks, the VCS companies, did they do it like in an arc?
They had to.
They could have just put chow on there.
Smaller letters. You have to take the binoculars to a hockey.
They could have just put Black Lives Matter a lot, buddy, instead of your name.
Yeah, would have been shorter.
Folks, the VCS companies, all kidding aside, whether you need surveillance, 1080p in our cul-de-sac, if you pull in, I can go, dude, that guy needs to trim his nose here. I've got zoomable 1080p looking out over the cul-de-sac. Can't beat it. Tied right into my security system. I've got it all on an app.
If it wasn't, you'd just be a voyeur.
Right. I can angle it to my neighbor's pool. And I'm just saying, no. The VCS companies for all your electronic needs. And we've made a mockery of the spot now, but the Hartmans are just the best family on the planet. And if you want surveillance, fire suppression, fire detection, if you need an oil field pad site built, there's a right-of-way cleared or maintained, that's Rocket Oilfield Services. If you need a new iPad, iPhone, what is it now, 14? I don't know.
I think that's the operating system.
Samsung units, they've got it all. At the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer right there off Kerr Boulevard. Our affinity for this family goes much deeper than a radio program. Since Mr. Hartman's listening, I won't say that we would like them even if they weren't sponsors. We won't say that because we like them as sponsors.
And if you're a first responder, stop by the locally owned and
discount.
Authorized AT&T retailer and get a discount on your devices, your service. It's wonderful.
Yep. Chris Conrad said, was it the blue? She was Hope Hicks wearing the same blue dress that Bill Clinton has in the painting at the Epstein's house. Nice.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I saw a picture yesterday. This is not a joke because, you don't think of Chris Wallace as being a partier, right? You can see him being kind of boring.
Yeah.
And I can't confirm that this was at, what was it called?
Lolita on
the island. What do they call the island?
I can't remember. Epstein's Island?
Pedophile Island. I don't know. But
Fantasy Island?
There's a picture of Jeff Epstein helping Chris Wallace onto like a Chris Craft boat, and there's trees in the background, so it's not in New York Harbor. I thought that was, as you would say, interesting.
The timing is certainly interesting.
Yeah, of course. Well, it had to be a while back because Epstein's expired.
The more I watch clips of the debate from Tuesday night.
I know what you're going to say. Go ahead. Admit it. Admit it.
Chris Wallace was as much a debater and instigator as either of the two on stage.
No doubt.
He was as much a party to the shenanigans and the tomfoolery that
chicanery
and the chicanery that everybody thinks went down. But
Trump was masterful.
Has a question asker moderator ever been so mad when asking questions as Chris Wallace was through most of that?
But I will admit,
mostly one directed at President Trump.
What could you do if your job, if part of the definition of moderator is to maintain decorum, maintain the fluid transmission of ideas? Who could do that? The Rock? I mean,
No, because he likes Biden.
I know, but who could manage it?
Well, you needed help on the production side. There needed to be some. Yeah, I mean, it was tough, but the questions themselves were the problem I had with Chris Wallace.
No doubt.
That would have been hard for any moderator to maintain the control, just because of the way that thing went off the rails right from the get-go.
There's a difference between saying, Mr. President, you've said all along that the White House did a great job in dealing with coronavirus. How do you explain to the American people that we've had 200,000 deaths? Okay, that's a pretty leading question, kind of. But Chris Wallace would have said something like, Mr. President, your opponents, your detractors have noted that you bungled the handling of the coronavirus. How do you defend yourself? There's a big difference between putting the man on the defensive and asking him for information. And if you go back and listen, Chris Wallace, Biden was mumbling about something, and Wallace filled in the blank for him.
Yeah.
Are you talking about your government jobs program? What are you talking about, Mr. Biden? Yeah. That the new Green Deal will pay for itself.
Michael Jolly says Chris will forever be labeled a liberal after
No
that.
doubt.
But he's a registered Democrat, so I mean, no surprise there.
Boy,
he was on Fox News.
Speaking of, and I don't know how much real audio we're going to bore y'all with.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, John Roberts, who I used to think.
Don Nicole says Rip from Yellowstone could have moderated that.
You know what? That's a great call. Or I tell you who else could do it. You know, Donnie, Beth Dutton could do it. Beth Dutton would go, why don't you sit down, Donald?
What about Carol Blaskin? You think she could have done it? The Tiger lady? I don't know.
Do you see?
Never seen the show. So I see a headless person in a faded fishing shirt. Oh, there he is.
What a handsome devil.
Just got in.
Apparently.
Wow.
He came through the front door.
Hang on.
Not the back door.
Usually the back door man. Just we're going to get you to talk about the epidemic, the pandemic of mosquitoes.
Frank Cepeda says, could either one of you all done better than Chris Wallace?
Frank Cepeda. Can you
What did I say?
Cepeda.
Cepeda.
Caribbean.
Potato.
I don't know. Taco. You might as well take a mic if you're going to stand there and talk.
Yeah.
I mean, just.
Clint Ives. Mosey on in.
Commissioner Clint Ives. Look, if Karen Lee Webb agrees Rip could do it.
Frank, the moderation part would have been tough. The questioning part, without the editorializing, I think a lot of people could have done better.
Yeah.
The questioning was suspect and leading.
Yeah, I agree.
And usually to the disadvantage of Trump in that debate.
I'll go a step further, Frank, because part of my comment is no. I don't think anybody could have done a better job than Chris Wallace, because once the president started interrupting and babbling and all that, it was impossible. And it was a strategy.
Yeah.
Because I watched some spare on CNN the other day, John Berger, and he asked a question about the president and alluded to the president being racist. And this chief, kind of the guy looks kind of like, what's the guy's name on Mad Magazine? What?
Alfred E. Newman?
Yeah, it's kind of what this kid looks like. He looked like he's about 25 years old, and he was the spokesman. Well, he started just laying out, well, you say this, what about this, what about that? Bam, 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 bam. And when the guy started making good points on CNN, the guy goes, Mr. Biden can speak for himself. Mr. Biden can speak for himself. Mr. Biden can answer his own, can defend himself. He just kept going on and on because the guy was saying, you're calling Trump a racist. What about Biden eulogizing Byrd? What about Biden's relationship with George Wallace? What about? And he started interrupting the guy over and over again. So it's a strategy used by frontline journalists as well.
Well, if anybody saw the clips of Ted Cruz on Chris Cuomo's show earlier this week,
Cuomo can't stand in the same room with Ted Cruz.
But he was pulling the same thing. He was constantly interrupting Ted Cruz and wouldn't let Cruz answer questions when it started going away that Chris Cuomo didn't like the answer going.
Well, that's what the mainstream media does. They go that direction.
Well, that's what Commissioner's Court does.
Let's change gears here.
For example, if I don't like the direction Kevin Yannick's going, I just interrupt him.
You just grab the steering wheel and turn him right instead of left?
Correct, yeah, and he's weeks coming back on track. weeks.
Does it? Kevin seems like it could throw Kevin for a loop. Like,
well, he vapor locks.
Isn't he kind of like Sally Field? They like me. They really like me.
What's that Saturday?
And then when you flip that on him, does he spin it? I wish Commissioner Yannick would call and defend himself.
575-9509.
Yeah,
Chris Conrad says, "Do you think the Dems will take this opportunity to infect Sleepy Joe with COVID and blame Trump? Kind of takes care of two issues for them at once."
Not a bad idea. If Biden could play the COVID card and get out of a debate, his status would probably go up.
Matt Ogre says Biden finally got Biden and the left loses its mind. Michael Jolly says Ben Shapiro is the moderator.
Ben Shapiro would do a good job because I think Ben Shapiro is, although he's already a big deal, many of you may not know who he is, but he is an up-and-comer as far as
he's already there.
So what are your expectations from the VP debate? VP debate gets a lot of there's a lot of excitement about the VP debate, in years past. So you've got Mike Pence,
nicest guy on the planet,
very disciplined,
Christian man, nice man,
yes,
gentleman,
very well put together, commanding presence, very conservative,
former radio guy, not afraid of a microphone. I think we saw what Kamala Harris can bring to debates in the Democratic presidential nominee debates, and it wasn't much.
Yeah, so then on the other side, you've got Kamala.
Kamala's going to come out with a little anklet and some pumps.
Yeah, but
to Aretha Franklin music.
I think they're further apart politically than Trump and Biden.
Yeah.
In regards to political ideals. So you've got Kamala far left.
She can't attack him.
Not afraid to express her far left flirting with socialism ideals. Right? And then you've got Mike Pence, disciplined, put together well, speaks well, handles himself well.
So you're Pence and Kevin is Kamala?
You put that together and I will not disagree with that.
Kevin Yannick, we're playing with you, sir. You know we love you on that court.
Matt Ogre says Ben Shapiro may be the smartest man on the planet. Ben Shapiro might even tell you that.
Right. Well, I can't imagine that Kamala gets any traction by trying to blast Mike Pence. I can't believe that the left even has any disdain for Mike Pence. So you got to figure Kamala's going to attack the president through Mike Pence.
Matt Ogre says Harris is absolutely despicable. I hope Pence doesn't play the shrinking violent.
He will not be a shrinking violent. I have no fear of him being a shrinking violent. He's a man, but I don't expect him to be anything less than a gentleman. And I guarantee you, not once does he interrupt her.
No. What's always fascinated me is the concept of, you're on the local level. When we go into campaign mode and we've got debates and speaking events, there's prep involved. Okay, if there's a forum at 5 o'clock that evening, all right, starting around noon, I'm going to unplug. And
you're cramming at 4:30.
Yeah, I'm a crammer. Okay, so some people start. Zeller, he'll spend a day, and I've helped him with this before. We'll freestyle back and forth. If they throw some tough questions at me, don't cut me any slack. I've done that with him in years past. I unplug around noon. I'll get with somebody that I appreciate their opinion. Typically not Rick Carter.
Has he ever called you?
No.
And so there's a small amount.
Nor are you, I take it.
You want to take some tough questions, and you want to make sure that your brain walks you through that thought process of responding, right? All right. So, but it's a matter of hours for me. I would say no more than a day here on the local level for an elected official or a candidate, right? At that level, I would imagine weeks and weeks and weeks of prep, right?
At the national level?
And strategy, the amount of strategy that they go through and they look at different scenarios. And, by the time it's televised and by the time it goes down, every option and every angle has been analyzed beforehand. And so Trump's performance, you got a lot of mixed opinions.
Because he did no prep. He says, I live it. I am
probably got up from a nap and said, let's do this.
I believe that 100%.
Which red tie should I wear with my Navy suit today?
So let me ask you this, though. On the national level, you guys just free form in here. You know that you need to be versed on COVID, the economy, the shutdown. the Supreme Court. You need to be versed on what else?
Healthcare.
Healthcare. Here's the deal. Do you know that we haven't heard a thing in this country about healthcare in 9 months? Nobody's talking. The Democrats, the House, the Senate, it's all been on hold until now. They're like, oh, don't you forget.
Well, because
if you don't Democrat, you need us.
Because don't forget. Their talking points of capacity, their talking points of equipment, ventilators, all went out the window when we ramped it all up and we didn't need it. Because they were so gung-ho on the fact that our mostly private healthcare system wasn't going to be able to handle the COVID demand. And then when that didn't turn out to happen,
they brought that military.
They just shut up about it.
They brought that military hospital ship into New York Harbor.
You say ship?
Ship. Okay. It was a ship, with a P. And when that didn't manifest, they took that boat on around Orlando, and now it's a topless bar for the NBA players in the bubble. They quarantined that.
Well, with the U.S. Marshals.
There's one girl there. Her name's Mustang Sally, and she's awfully tired.
Well, what they found with that ship,
coming and going and going and coming,
is our fat, obese population couldn't fit through the doors of that ship.
CNN reporting this morning that President Trump and Melania have tested positive for COVID. They did point out that the president's really at risk for a bad outcome because of his obesity. I thought that was interesting. He's 74. He's not like grossly obese for a 74-year-old man that's almost 6'4".
Yeah, I don't know what that feels like when a doctor categorizes you. You would changing gears.
What do they call that? Your BMI?
Yeah.
The doctor just says, just try to use a little bit more cocaine.
You know, my dad.
Matt Oger says, we expect presidents to know and do too much. If you're doing everything, you're doing nothing. And Roy Gutierrez says, imagine that. There's a new caravan headed for the border. My dad, because that was forgotten in the debate.
My dad has never been a fan of a healthy lifestyle.
And it's a choice.
Yes. And so for 20 years, he got sick and tired of every one of his doctors telling him, you need to get your cholesterol under control, you need to get your weight under control, blah, 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 blah. He got tired of hearing
all those doctors are dead.
So he just went and found him a fat doctor.
Right.
And he never heard it again.
They're happy.
Never heard it again.
They just debrief it.
That's it. Mr. Ives, you're looking great. You too, Doc.
Hey, on a Friday, you can debrief with your doc over a plate of Tex-Mex at Veracruz.
Last day to do it.
Get over there. Chips, hot sauce, queso, guacamole. It's the best. I know the secret to their guac. I'll tell you later. It is the best.
Don't spill it.
Lisa Poole got the Blazing Saddles reference. I appreciate that very much, Lisa. That's why you're a top fan.
So, Ash, the reason
she's your age.
The reason I came in was I don't know, the phones didn't work.
What? They work. He just wanted to come by. I know.
We're playing co-ed softball in Inez, and it's a phenomenal experience. We're having a great time. Jenny and I are on a team together, and we had some things we needed to work on. So
Jenny's the number 4 hitter, right?
We Googled.
She bets anywhere she wants.
He doesn't know that reference.
James Curtis says Clint Ives' dad is a good guy. Matt Oger says, God bless Mr. Ives. I think Matt may struggle a little bit with his weight. He's eating
the struggles.
Third taquito.
The struggle's real. But so we Googled Rent-A-Coach. Ash.
Yep.
And it's kind of a subscription-based deal. Like when you send $29.95 a month, and they just provide you whatever's available.
Like farmers only.
Right. So you eat harmony for coaches and teams. So this guy shows up Wednesday for practice. And
so how many, what did you put when you filled out that profile to find the coach?
Well, well-structured, organized team, seeking anything.
And what did you end up with?
So, my question to you is, because you've been involved in athletics for quite some time.
Allegedly.
Not on this show.
Should a coach spend most of his time struggling to keep his hands to himself Especially on first base with a 40-year-old male player.
Right.
Is that normal?
No.
I was like,
I see what the problem was though. No, you've got to step
right.
This
I'm trying. Yeah. It looked more like the tango.
It was awkward, but keep in mind we were seeking professional help here, so I wasn't going to question anything. But
and you didn't quite get the professional help.
It was odd.
Judge Posey said, "Good morning, Commissioner."
Good morning, Judge Posey. Missing the good old days, brother.
Let me tell
he's
you.
Not.
He's not.
He emphasizes here daily that he is not missing at all.
He is not missing it.
One of the most profound things. I took office January 3rd, 2011, and I walked into a courthouse and I had no idea how the day was going to end, how the week or the year was going to end. Around 9 o'clock, Judge Posey called me in his office and he said, "I'm going to give you orientation. Starting now, right now, your days are numbered."
It's the way to look at it, right?
Yes. So,
kind of like the head coach of a pro team. The day you're hired is the day you're closer to being fired.
On day one, somebody along the line is planning on either running against you. They've decided that, and it's true. That's one of the most profound things I was told in the early days.
Judge Posey did say, "I miss the guys." I think and when you're part of that team, that's what you hear the most out of all. Usually it's professional athletes, but when you're involved in intense debate, intense decisions, when you're spending other people's money, when you're involved in tough decisions, take that. You find that you build a camaraderie, even in disagreement, a respect, a mutual camaraderie that you'll hear NFL players all the time. Do you miss the game? I miss the locker room. I miss the players. I miss the interaction with my peers.
It was different. I've held office for 10 years. And, at first you think.
Haven't aged a bit.
No. You think, good God, government hadn't changed in decades. And maybe from the outside looking in, it seems that way. But I can look back now and working with Judge Posey in my first 4 years and the past 6 years, what's changed is unthinkable. We've gotten to county government that's now extremely legal, and it's not from leadership or any different office holders. It's just the nature of county government has changed. The legislature's mood towards county government has completely changed from back when Judge Posey was our county judge.
Unfunded mandates.
Unfunded mandates. Coming down on counties with revenue caps. Those were things that were kind of backroom discussions back then. But everybody, those are, the mindset was that they'll never do that. They'll never do that. But, the legislature doesn't have that much dislike for us. But then, developments. All right, developments out in the county, they were warming up, but we weren't inundated with exponential growth with rural subdivisions back then.
Yeah, exactly. Well, your precinct is booming real estate wise.
12 subdivisions in the past 8 years, just in the Inez area. 12.
That's crazy.
That's more
Clayton
than a year.
Clayton Meyer, who played he's really good with math. Keep it simple. Clayton Meyer played some college baseball. Said, did the coach show up in a van?
Not just college baseball, D1 college baseball.
Did he show up in a van with no windows? If so, you may have a problem. Adam Sugar, still obviously reeling from that spanking he took, says Clint swings the bat like a third grade boy who hasn't come out yet.
Clint hits the ball, though.
And Adam said, "You're putting me to sleep, Commissioner Ives." Hey, real quick, let us take a quick break. You don't have anywhere to go.
You want to derail a Marine that's pitching to blow a kiss from the batter's box.
That'll do it. That will do it. You want to derail your wife's anxieties about life? Go by Chesnick Furniture Company, 116 West Juan Lynn, corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge.
A nice lounge that you can sit in.
I thought you were going to say nice segue. Furniture, accoutrement.
That too.
Accoutrement, or if you're from Texas, accoutrement. I mean, that's how you say Sepida. Guitar.
Sepida's trolling.
Unbelievable. Yeah, Sepida was trolling, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't work. We admit Chris Wallace did as good a job as anybody could do.
Yeah.
but
except with the question.
He's a liberal idiot. Chesney Furniture, 100 years in downtown Victoria. Get by there. Bobby Leon and his family, his dad, his grandfather, they've all been there. They'll deliver it today. Go by and tell them Wade and Carter sent you. 50% off all furniture during this celebration. You tell them, say, hey, Wade and Carter sent me. I want that recliner ready for the Horns game tomorrow. Get it done.
James Kerr says, wear a sailor hat at the batter's box next time you blow that kiss.
Wow. Wow. Jeff Fonseca says, is that rent to own? No, only the space in Mr. Cepeda's brain is rent to own, where we now own him. Razor IT Solutions, reach out to JP Hull. JP and his team will come out. They'll help you with your analytics. If you want to collect money, Clint, you want to do a website, you want to collect money to fund your next campaign, you put a big red button there.
Look into a MySpace page.
They can help you. By the way, Commissioner's Court Day, timely. Our buddy JP Hull was approved for some work. It's part of a FEMA grant.
Yeah, so
CARES Act.
CARES Act. Yeah, this is a local government piece of the CARES Act, and no cost locally. We were allocated X amount of dollars. I believe it was based on population. We've got a funding committee that's in front of that. I serve on that, and we decide if the resources departments are requesting are appropriate. And one of the things that came up was social media outreach.
Fantastic.
Regarding COVID. So no doubt Razor's going to do a great job. We received 3 proposals on that. Razor's proposal was just outstanding.
He's a pro.
Yeah, their background is phenomenal. When you look at their, the services they provided to different institutions.
Yep. Let's see.
White Trash Services.
I missed what Oker said, but I bet it was funny.
550-1826. The new quarter began yesterday. Not too late to get new service started with White Trash Services.
Adam Shooter says, Tom from MySpace lives under a Victoria overpass now. Hey, reach out to BJ Nelson, Scott Nelson. Their family-run business is exemplary. What a great corporate citizen in our community. Big in the 6-county area and Holiday Beach and Rockport, and of course Lake McQueeney. If you need something, if you have a lot of recycling, you can just give it to BJ Nelson. She'll take it to Lake McQueeney,
where they have a recycling program.
Dwayne Proctor, GDP Text, 550-4744. Great friend of the show, great guy. The laptop that we use here, provided by Dwayne Proctor. We can't get any porn on it. It only does.
Can barely get our show on it most days.
It's missing keys.
It's not the dust off of it. It's a good one. All right. Let's go. Okay, we'll keep going with the commissioner here. I always tell everybody that's involved in our local politics in any way, and by the way, including Raleigh McCoy, who doesn't take me up on it, to just stop, because I think the folks on the south side would get mad if Raleigh came here. They'd be like, I can't believe you went on that show with those right-wing extremists. Yeah.
And they're Canadian.
Right. There you go.
Hey, I learned something in Spanish the other day. If there's any Hispanic listeners, maybe they can call and comment.
There's a bunch, thank goodness. A bunch.
Kin folks, probably.
Yeah. Cousins.
Yeah. The word chilango. I'd never heard that word before.
Chilango. Chilango.
So my middle son.
And Chilango was his name,
Chilango. Chilango.
My middle son has been taking karate in Edna for about 3 years. The head sensei, the main instructor, is a 5th degree black belt, and he was born in Mexico City.
Sensei, is that those things you plug into the wall and your brain smells good?
Nice.
Okay.
I'll mention that.
No, please don't.
I'll mention you said that.
Tell me to come on by Wade and Carter.
Yes.
How big old boy are you?
Right. But anyways, so he was born in Mexico City.
They weren't those soap tasting little candies from the 50s?
And
he's a Mexican black belt?
5th degree. In Mexico City,
didn't stop at Brown.
He was telling me karate in Mexico City is second only to soccer. He said huge in Mexico City.
Wow.
Yes. The world championships have been held in Mexico City multiple times.
How old a man is he?
Mid-40s.
Wow. Awesome.
So anyways, long story short, he's got a younger second
Too
degree.
Too late for that.
1 hour show.
2nd degree black belt. His name's Cesar. He was born in San Antonio. both speak fluent Spanish, and they'll talk to one another in Spanish when they don't want the children to.
An extension of Mexico City.
They call each other because Cesar was born in San Antonio. He calls him a norteño.
Norteño from the north.
Right. Okay. He calls Luis, the fifth degree, he calls him a chilango. And I kept hearing this word. So I've never heard that word before. That is what they call somebody from the capital.
Chilango.
Because if you're born
or that's just what they told you.
Mexico City,
right?
In Mexico City, if there's a sense of pride from being born in the capital, and that.
So the next time you see Governor Abbott, you're gonna say, "¿Qué pasó, Chilango?"
It's kind of like an elitist or a snob, or only from the capital, Chilango.
Jeff Fonseca says that he lost his MySpace password. Don't worry, Jeff. I've got it, and I've updated your profile.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's kind of a boring.
We needed content. Nobody was behind you. You were like, "This is a stretch."
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that was just yesterday.
I do have a serious question though that came up, and I'm glad you're here because you may be able to answer this one. I'm glad you're here too. I saw news that Texas Mile is going to Beeville. Is that a temporary thing, or is this news to you?
Well, so we had a large federal grant that hit at the airport for to revamp the runway. We can't close all runways with the FAA, and this was a little bit of an ancillary hardware that came with that funding. So the Texas Mile utilizes our big main runway because of its length. I don't remember the exact measurement, but I think it's like 9,000 feet.
At least a mile.
It's well over a mile.
Well over a mile.
Mile and 3/4, something.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
huge.
Well, so that's currently being rehabbed through this grant that kills it for the Texas Mile. We could put them on a smaller runway that still probably would work, but we can't have no runway.
Bunch of hay bales at the end.
Hit one of Stephen Diebel's cows.
Our backup is 1 mile and 1 foot.
Right. Come on back.
So yeah, it just didn't fit this year because of construction.
But it will be back.
Dana Moore,
At least that's the
Garza,
plan.
you know Dana Moore. She pointed out that you did a nice job of rolling your R.
Yeah.
There's no R in Chilango.
There is if you say it right.
There's no E in team.
Can you? Well, we can't do it. I was going to get you to play that public service announcement, but you can't do that for Clint. He can't hear it.
Oh, she was referring to Norteño.
Maybe so.
Norteño.
Hey, there was a time this white boy was pretty fluent in Spanish. I was working on the border for about 3 years, and if you can't
Before he met Jenny.
if you can't order in Spanish, you don't eat.
Hola, chica.
So we never did finish the coach story.
Oh, I was the coach.
You were the
It was
coach.
just
Yeah, no, I
Razzie.
know. Did he bring any value?
The first grown man to get removed from the Little League ball fields in 20 years.
It was like the bad news bears, but I have to tell you something. So,
We had a great
You
time.
kind of got a Walter Matthau.
the Albas, Jenny is great, and she plays left. The center fielder was really adequate, big arm. It looked like ripped.
Talk about first.
First base, it looked like Johnny Cash. He was all black. He had a knee brace on, black shoes, black shorts, black shirt.
So they started this in July.
Who was in right?
Sam
Albas.
Sam,
Yeah.
yeah.
Samantha Albas.
Yeah. So they started talking about this in July.
T-Lat's tempted. She's right there. So they wanted me to show T-Lat can ball. I mean,
Hey,
she
bring
can
it.
play.
Bring it. We need her.
Oh, I'd love for her to play. It's fun to watch her play.
We need her.
Right. I know. Oh, I got it.
No, you didn't. I got it. You didn't.
Seriousness, Brent brought it home as a coach. Brent is a phenomenal coach.
Thank you, sir.
He showed up for an hour and a half, and hit balls. We filled the balls. He's calling plays. I mean, he just grabbed it and ran it. It was great. It was exactly what we needed. The entire team offered him a shirt and a permanent position.
Terry Poole, you listening? You listening, TP?
Patrick Strauss says, sounds like they sent Biden to be your coach.
Can you imagine? It's going to be terrific. You guys are going to be super, super duper. We're going to play at warp speed. Warp speed, I'm telling you.
But Meyer says, what's on second? I don't want to go down that road.
No.
We'll be here all night.
Clint's very serviceable at first. I mean, they have a good infield. Really, everybody on that team fielded the ball. I'm no kidding.
The tough part about this adult co-ed season that Inez put together, I think there's 12 teams.
Now, do you, as the guys, do you have to bat opposite hand?
Off-handed, yes, and that takes a couple weeks to adjust to.
Yeah.
Some have it. Some guys are really struggling with it.
It's because they lied and put left down when they're actually a right-handed batter.
Well, they go so the pitcher can swap a batter one time. All right, if the pitcher suspects, all right, so Clint's out there with his glove on his left hand and he's throwing with his right, but he's on the right side of the batter's box, that pitcher can swap me one time. If I then knock it over the fence because he swapped me like an idiot, then, hey, that's your loss. But he does have that option.
But look at the whole premise of co-ed softball. It should be lighthearted, fun, something for spouses to do together, because I can tell you, and Dawn is the example. She was playing catcher, and one of those weekend warrior turds that thought that this was his, major league debut, rounded third and just cleaned her clock at home plate. And Fortiani pointed out to her, "You've had a really serious blunt trauma to this jaw." And she goes, "Oh, I know exactly when it happened. I mean, she got whacked playing catcher in co-ed. If I'd have been there in co-ed softball, they'd have buried that dude right there. You don't run over a lady over co-ed softball."
The rise in co-ed softball coincides with the rise in the divorce rate in this country.
I can believe that 100%.
I'm not struggling so much with an offhanded. I got used to it because I'm somewhat ambidextrous. I write left-handed, but I do throw and bat right-handed.
So do I.
So,
exactly the same.
If it's fine detail like writing or holding something, detail motor skills, I'll go to my left hand. So I've always had kind of a little back and forth. So I adjusted to batting off-handed. What I struggle with is that extremely slow pitch. You can make a sandwich in the time it takes the ball to come to you. So for like the first 3 weeks, I just line drive it to first because I'm swinging too soon, or I foul it.
Flare it off.
Well, you go to bat with a strike and a foul under your belt. So you got a 1-1 count when you go to bat.
I kind of like that.
2 strikes, and they put that rule in place to keep the game moving. Okay,
Yeah.
So you've only got 2 strikes. You got one courtesy foul. That's all you get.
Your third strike can't be a foul.
No.
Right.
Or it is a strike.
I'm okay with that rule. What I don't like, they put in, if you walk a male, the male takes 2 bases. If you're followed by a female, that female's got the option to take first. Have you ever heard of that, Ash, in co-ed softball?
Yes.
But it's just
it's the most misogynist rule you could probably have.
It's patronizing. It's patronizing.
Because, and this is what we get into.
Matt Oger says Dawn was blocking the plate. Good call, Matt. You're talking about being ambidextrous. This is a true story. Like, it's not a gift because I'm not a teacher, but I write left-handed. If I'm on a chalkboard, I can literally switch hands and my handwriting stays the same. It's a weird thing. Now, I can't hardly write my name right-handed. I've never had a reason to practice it, right? But I can be writing Clint is my guy, and the handwriting looks the same, and I can switch hands mid letters.
Can you run them both at the same time?
No, unless I'm writing Clint sucks. Then it just flows free out of my brain. Hey, real quick, folks, what doesn't suck? Uncle Mutt's Barbecue. Get by there today.
7 days a week.
They're open all weekend. If you don't get by there today, they'll be there tomorrow. But today, I have it on good accord. The brisket is going to be moist and perfect. The turkey, never dry. It's perfect. Jonathan told me that he sourced that from one specific place. It's the only turkey breast he buys. And it's fantastic. All the side dishes. Get some pea salad. Tell them I want the Wade and Carter pea salad. They'll give it to you.
Actually, just ask for the Carter pea salad.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Because you're more of a cabbage.
Yeah, I like the cabbage.
Yeah, you're a cabbage.
And I like potatoes.
Gray Barn Design. Let Cheryl make your next event memorable. Reach out to her at 920-6803. Cheryl does a great job. She's a fun lady, and she's easy to work with. If you visit with Cheryl about what you want your party to be like, she listens. She'll take all your ideas. She'll bring you back ideas and let you pick what you want. And you'll go, I never thought about that. I see what you're saying. The weddings they've done, people just rave about how great they are. So do it. Enjoy your party.
In spite of me sometimes.
Right. Don't worry about the flowers. Flowers are optional. And then, of course, USA Concrete Coatings. Our buddy Charlie Garcia said hello to everybody in Victoria and let you know that he can do your garage floor in one day. In and out, polyurethane, antimicrobial, antibacterial, color coordinated, pool decks, porches, patios. You got a room where the boys, you're like, I'm tired of you kids eating in your room. Your carpet looks like it's all matted. Get that out of there. Let USA come in. They can put down a maroon and gray floor so the boys can have the Cobra room right there at the house at Ives Casa. He does that. He does it very well. It's very reasonably priced, and he'll give you an estimate if you call 578-HOME. So
Wind services for all your electric.
We already talked about it. We'll give him another double dip on a Friday.
We bought a generator for the precinct from Carl Wendt about 2 months ago.
Now, how does it fueled?
Propane.
Right. So they come out. The nice thing about Wendt is they can come out and you've got to have, and you probably have some, but you've got to have a certified plumber make that connection.
Oh, sure.
It's one of those quirky state laws. And Wendt has the certified plumber that can come out. Absolutely. That's the right phrase.
The systems now, the system that they are tying to those generators now, and I bought into this, is your generators are going to run a self-start, self-run test run like once a week. Okay. If there's a hiccup during that, it emails me and Carl.
That's awesome.
And says, hey, got a problem. And they come out, they check it out.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Adam Sugar, why'd the water cross the road?
Says it's an old Inez joke.
We had a little rain last 2 weeks ago in Inez. That's probably what he's referring to.
BJ Nelson says Clint uses white trash services at the precinct and the collection station at the airport.
White trash service got it going on.
550-1826.
We have this is a little early bird let out the bag, but we have a little community initiative that we partnered with the Nelsons at White Trash on, Cobra Cleanup. It was scheduled for this fall. We pulled back on it with COVID, and so we'll probably be looking at this spring, but it'll be a litter pickup. And White Trash Services is partnering with us on that, and I know it's going to be a great event.
So Gil Garcia, widely recognized as one of the best softball umpires on the planet.
Depends if you win or lose.
He sent, when you asked if any Mexicans were listening, Gil said this Mexican is listening. He said the reason that they walk the girl automatically is so the girl doesn't hit into the double play all the time on two bases for men. So whether they walk the girl or not, the reason they send the man on to second is that it doesn't
because they think the girl can't hit.
And then the girl's going to hit a dribbler to the shortstop. We're going to turn a double play. So we're going to take the double play out of it and put the man all the way over to first. If you want to use that strategy, then you've got to put a man in. You got a man coming up next with a man in scoring position. So yeah, that's really a pretty good rule. It won't be long till Major League Baseball is just like that. Every time you come to the plate, he's got a full count.
Well, the problem is, when I get up to bat, if it's close, I'm swinging. Yeah, all right. So you got teams that take advantage of that. It's tough. I would almost say it's tougher to slow pitch than it is to fast pitch because you've got to arc it between 3 and 10 feet, and you've got a very tight area that it's got to land behind home plate.
Yeah,
right? That's tough to
Being
do.
the pitcher's good. Jody Pickett, who's not on first? Who's on second? What's on first? The other question is, this was good. It was. I forgot. The Hall of Famer Ralph Salazar is in the green room. Ralph, go easy on those margaritas. You and Gary were a little loose yesterday. Ralph doesn't drink much. He just drinks, enough.
Mm-hmm.
Astros and A's. Monday, who do you got? Starting Monday.
I'll tell you this is a two-part answer. I'm not avoiding it. The A's beat the White Sox. And the Braves beat the Reds because the Reds haven't scored a run in like 18 postseason games. I'm telling you that I wanted to play the White Sox because anything can happen in a 3-game series, the A's out of the way. But in a 5-game series, the A's are a better team than the Astros because of injury. No Jordan Alvarez, no Verlander. We've got issues. But check this. The Astros found something in this series against the Twins. They found a little fun on the baseball field. I watched both games. They were cutting up. They were loose. They finally seem to have embraced the old A.J. Hinch of, hey, let's play for today. And if they do that, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Astros to beat the A's.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I think the A's are their club.
I didn't think the Astros were going to beat the Twins.
Astros in 4.
But the Astros and Dusty Baker, I think some of the best, found how to play ball again. They've kind of been looking for it all season. I give the Astros the edge because they've been to the World Series 2 of the last 3 years. They've won it once. They've got some playoff experience, and I think that showed when
bang the can slowly.
When it was time against the Twins, the team with the playoff experience, I think, came forward. Padres came back to beat the Cardinals last night. I watched most of that game, and the Cardinals were.
But did you report it? Did you report that the Cardinals had beat the Padres and then have to go back and recant?
I did not.
Okay.
I was surprised to see that.
What about before we let the Hall of Famer come in? It's a Friday. I paid the rent. Thanks, Mom. I'm being a little defiant. I'm going over. I don't care. Respectfully. Sorry, Ralph. Tell me this. Do we have anything else on our list of things we were going to talk about?
I don't believe we do. No.
We did talk about John Roberts' meltdown?
Yeah, right off the bat, pretty much.
Good. All right, well.
We're pretty much there.
Commissioner, we appreciate you coming in.
Thanks for stopping by, Clint.
Folks, we love you guys. Hope you all have a great. We're not going to ever talk tennis, Matt, but we're going to have to find a way.
He equates baseball to tennis.
Do you really?
Sounds like it. Why are you all talking tennis?
Breaks my heart. All right, folks, we love you. Have a great weekend. Can you play that drive safely thing? I like that so much.
So I'll play it.
You know I like it.